Gilad Atzmon is a controversial musician and writer who struggles with Arab music and Jewish identity.
Initially, I believed that with music I would be able to bring peace. I wasn't very successful, in spite of the fact that it was all around me. I didn't really listen to it. And when I was kind of in my 30s, I tried to learn this music, and it wasn't easy at all. It was a complete new language, and this is when I learned to listen for real. And to listen for real is to learn to close your eyes. To listen for real is the understanding that while the West is obsessed with the primacy of the I, with our technology and empirical knowledge and science, in the East, it's the ear. It's the capacity to internalize something deeply. It's the capacity to hear the pain of the other. It's the capacity to listen to your own ethical judgment. I didn't decide to speak out. I found myself speaking out. And I realized at a certain stage that I was involved in a pretty serious crime against humanity. And I didn't feel great with it. I started to write about it and to speak about it. It didn't take long before Zionist Jews started to harass me, and didn't take long before Jewish anti-Zionists started to harass me, and then I became more and more interested in those issues to do with Jewish identity politics. We have seen the American president using every trick in the book to appease this Jewish lobby that advocates a new global war that can escalate easily into a nuclear conflict. I think that this lobby is the biggest threat to world peace, even bigger threat than Israel. It is very clear to me that the Jewish community cannot restrain the Jewish lobby. Why? Because it's a cultural issue, actually, and there is very little tolerance towards dissent in Jewish culture. You remember there was a guy called Jesus. He came with a pretty simple idea: let's do something about brotherhood, love your neighbor. They didn't like it. If we would hear from more Israelis, I would be delighted to let them take the lead. This is an inherent problem within Jewish culture. One of the biggest problems that I detected is that when Jews speak out, they for some reason like to do it as Jews. So they become Jews for peace, Jews for Palestine, Jews anti-Zionist. And what really happens is that they are still very committed to the tribal interests rather than the alleged subject matter. It is very important for me to be an ex-Jew, because I don't want to hear myself ever saying as a Jew. I don't like to hear people saying or starting a sentence saying as a Jew unless I understand what they mean by that. So if I say a rabbi saying as a Jew, I know what he means. For him, being a Jew is a very deep spiritual understanding. But when I hear a secular Jew, a secular Jewish Marxist saying as a Jew, what does he mean? He doesn't believe in God, he doesn't follow the Torah. It just means that he belongs to a race. So it means that he thinks in racial terms. And if it's not racial terms, it's cultural. What does it mean? That he likes chicken soup? So say as a chicken soup eater, I think, but chicken soup is not a political argument. It's a problem. Because Zionists see themselves primarily as Jews. This is the whole issue. This is what Weizmann... But then the Jewish anti-Zionists, those who call themselves Jews for peace, or Jews for Palestine, or Jews for justice, also see themselves primarily as Jews, and they operate within a tribal mode and maintain a racially oriented form of thinking.
Right.
I was born in Israel. I wasn't a Zionist. I wasn't about to become a new Jew living... No, I was born in the alleged promised land. I was a Sabra. Because I was a Sabra, I didn't even have to think about myself primarily as a Jew. I wasn't a Jew. I was an Israeli. Okay? So what we see is a very interesting counterflow of aspiration between the diaspora and Israel. Basically, all Israelis, you give them now 1 million quid and a green card. They're in New York tomorrow, you know, and you talk to Brooklyn Jews, and you're 17 years old, and you tell them, listen, you have 3 options. You have to. I think that they're becoming reasonable. They don't want to die on the Jewish altar, on the Israeli altar, and this is why in 2006 the Israeli army was humiliated in Lebanon. It was defeated. But if your army is humiliated and defeated, you cannot maintain an expansionist, racist, nationalist state. So they have a problem. We are moving fast, quickly towards, or rapidly towards a Palestinian state over the entire, from the river to the sea. You know what they said in Al Tahrir? They said that they've lost their fear. I've lost my fear a long time ago.
Okay.